The ancient path of Kriya Yoga.
Kriya Yoga is an ancient form of meditation that is believed to accelerate a seeker's spiritual growth. At its core, Kriya Yoga works with the flow of energy in the body through pranayama, breath control, and meditation. By practicing it, aspirants aim to deepen awareness and move faster on the spiritual path. Although the practice is very old, it was revived in 1861 when Mahavatar Babaji initiated Lahiri Mahasaya into its techniques. Lahiri Mahasaya then spread Kriya Yoga throughout India, making it accessible to ordinary people, not just monks or ascetics. Outside India, Kriya Yoga became widely known only in the 20th century thanks to Paramahansa Yogananda. Through his famous book Autobiography of a Yogi and his teachings in the West, Yogananda introduced countless seekers to Kriya Yoga, earning recognition as the one who re-established this timeless practice in modern times. In this article, we will explore what Kriya Yoga really is, its deeper purpose, and how it can be practiced step by step. Understanding Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is described as a simple yet powerful scientific method for purifying the body and mind. It helps reoxygenate and cleanse the blood, while also energizing the nervous system. This process allows the brain and spinal cord to recover from fatigue and strain, bringing vitality back into the body. By controlling the flow of life force, the yogi slows down the natural decay of tissues and transforms the body's cells into a higher form of energy. Great saints and prophets such as Elijah, Jesus, and Kabir are said to have mastered Kriya or similar techniques. These practices gave them the ability to raise their consciousness, and in some accounts even to manifest or dissolve their physical bodies at will. When Mahavatar Babaji appeared to Lahiri Mahasaya in the 19th century, he explained, "The Kriya Yoga I am giving to the world through you is the same timeless science that Krishna once revealed to Arjuna, and which was later known to masters in different traditions, whether in the teachings of Ayurveda, Christ, Saint John, or Saint Paul." Learning Kriya Yoga. You can only learn how to practice Kriya Yoga by working with a guru and going through a formal initiation ceremony. Until they are ready to be initiated into the more advanced practices of Kriya Yoga, most meditators spend time in self-study and practice. Mantras and words are often recommended to help beginners focus their attention and move into deeper states of meditation. Sri Yukteswar told his students that Kriya Yoga was a tool that could hasten the evolution of humanity. The ancient yogis found out that controlling one's breathing was a key to unlocking the door to cosmic awareness. Herein lies India's unmatched and immortal contribution to humanity's store of knowledge. It is necessary to find a way to calm and still the incessant demands of the breath in order to release the life force, which is normally consumed in maintaining heart action for higher activities. The science of Kriya Yoga. The science of Kriya Yoga is built on the understanding that the human body is more than flesh and bone. It is a living instrument of cosmic energy. Ancient yogis taught that the 12 signs of the zodiac are reflected in the 6 main energy centers along the spine: the medullary, cervical, dorsal, lumbar, sacral, and coccygeal plexuses. Together, these centers form what is often called the cosmic man, a symbolic map that connects the human microcosm with the vast universe. When a Kriya yogi practices pranayama with devotion, energy is drawn upward along the spine and circulated in a precise rhythm. This circulation of life force has a profound effect on the body and mind. The scriptures say that half a minute of true Kriya practice equals 1 full year of ordinary spiritual progress. To put this into perspective, a yogi who performs 1,000 Kriyas in one day is said to compress an entire year's growth into just those few hours. In one single year, such a yogi could achieve the equivalent of 365,000 years of natural evolution. Of course, this is not a practice for the unprepared. Only highly disciplined and advanced yogis, trained under the close guidance of a guru, are capable of handling such immense energy. Just as a small lamp cannot withstand the power of 1,000,000,000 watts, an untrained body cannot safely channel the vast energy awakened by excessive or improper Kriya. This is why humility, patience, and guidance are so important on the path. Kriya Yoga works slowly and steadily, transforming the human body into a fit vessel for divine energy. Spirit's first movement in the physical world is gentle. The body and mind gradually adapt to higher vibrations until they are ready to express the limitless possibilities of cosmic consciousness. This slow and sure progress is why Krishna told Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Among all paths, the yogi is supreme. Kriya represents this path of methodical, scientific self-realization. Chapter 64 of the Bhagavad Gita teaches that yoga and meditation raise the consciousness of a person from the material to the spiritual. Through Kriya Yoga, the breath is refined into subtle energy, leading to the realization that the human being is not just flesh but pure cosmic energy. As adepts advance, they report that their bodies feel lighter and less bound by physical weight. The practice of Kriya increases oxygen intake, making the body's atoms more refined, more ethereal. The breath is no longer just air, it becomes life force or prana. This life force strengthens the subtle currents along the spine, awakens the astral centers, and transforms the entire being into a more spiritualized state. At advanced levels, Kriya yogis often describe a strange sensation. The body feels so light that it barely touches the ground. In deep meditation, the illusion of weight disappears, and sometimes the body even appears to levitate. While this may sound extraordinary, it is simply the result of life force overpowering the ordinary pull of matter. From experience, seasoned practitioners affirm that such states are real, though not to be mistaken as quick or casual results. For beginners, it is important to understand that spiritual growth does not happen overnight. In today's world, people are accustomed to instant gratification, quick fixes, fast results, and ready-made solutions. But the soul cannot be hurried in the same way. The journey of countless lifetimes cannot be undone in a week or a month. Kriya Yoga offers a shortcut, yes, but it still requires discipline, effort, and surrender. The good news is that the benefits of Kriya Yoga are not only in its highest promises. Even in the early stages, practitioners feel a sense of peace, clarity, and upliftment. The restless mind begins to quiet down. The breath becomes calm, the heart feels lighter. In this way, the path itself is rewarding. Kriya Yoga is both a science and an art. It is systematic, precise, and at the same time deeply personal and transformative. It does not take a lifetime to taste its fruits, because the changes begin from the very first breath of practice. How to perform Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is an old form of yoga that uses a set of techniques to clean the mind, body, and spirit. Kriya Yoga is a spiritual path that requires dedication, discipline, and practice. The practice is a mix of meditation, breathing exercises, and body positions that help us awaken our Kundalini energy and get closer to the divine. People think that Kriya Yoga is one of the most powerful and effective spiritual practices for realizing oneself and finding inner peace. Step 1. Preparation. Before beginning the practice of Kriya Yoga, it is important to prepare yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. This includes finding a quiet and peaceful space where you will not be disturbed, wearing comfortable clothing that allows you to move freely, and ensuring that you are well rested and not feeling hungry or thirsty. Step 2. Relaxation. The first step in the practice of Kriya Yoga is to relax your body and mind. Lie down on your back in a comfortable position with your arms and legs slightly apart. Close your eyes and take a deep breath through your nose, filling your lungs completely. Hold your breath for a few seconds and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this process several times until you feel completely relaxed. Step 3. Japa. The next step in Kriya Yoga is japa, which involves the repetition of a mantra or sacred sound. Choose a mantra that resonates with you and repeat it silently in your mind. You can use any mantra such as Om, Aum, or Soham. Focus your attention on the sound of the mantra and let all other thoughts fade away. Step 4. Mudra. The next step in Kriya Yoga is mudra, which involves the use of hand gestures to channel the flow of energy in the body. The most commonly used mudra in Kriya Yoga is the Kachari. To perform this mudra, hold your tongue back and place it on the soft palate at the back of your mouth. This helps to stimulate the flow of energy in the body and enhance your meditation practice. 5. Visualization. The next step in Kriya Yoga is visualization, which involves creating mental images to focus the mind and stimulate the flow of energy in the body. Visualize a stream of light or energy flowing from the base of your spine to the top of your head. As you inhale, visualize the energy rising up through the spine, and as you exhale, visualize it flowing back down. This gets rid of any blockages in the energy channels and makes it easier for you to meditate. 6. Meditation. The final step in the practice of Kriya Yoga is to engage in meditation. Sit up straight with your legs crossed and your hands resting on your knees. Close your eyes and focus your attention on the space between your eyebrows. This is known as the spiritual eye or the third eye. As you focus on this point, visualize the bright light that you visualized in step 5. Feel the energy within you becoming more and more focused and concentrated. Step 7, Bandha. The next step in Kriya Yoga is Bandha, which involves the use of body locks to enhance the flow of energy in the body. This refers to the practice of energy locks or seals. Bandhas are techniques used to regulate the flow of prana, or life force energy, throughout the body. There are 3 primary bandhas in Kriya Yoga: Mula Bandha, root lock; Uddiyana Bandha, abdominal lock; and Jalandhara Bandha, throat lock. Mula Bandha involves the contraction of the muscles around the perineum, which is the area between the anus and genitals. This helps stimulate the flow of energy upward through the spine. Uddiyana Bandha involves pulling the lower abdomen in and up towards the spine, while holding the breath out. This helps to stimulate the movement of energy upward through the central channel of the body. Jalandhara Bandha involves tucking the chin in toward the chest and lifting the sternum while holding the breath in. This helps to stimulate the flow of energy downward through the front of the body. When you practice these bandhas together, they help to balance and direct the flow of prana throughout the body, which is good for your physical, mental, and spiritual health. Step 8, Samadhi. The final and concluding step of Kriya Yoga is called Samadhi, which refers to a state of deep meditation and oneness with the divine. Samadhi is the ultimate goal of Kriya Yoga, and it is said to bring about a profound sense of peace, bliss, and enlightenment. In Samadhi, the mind is completely still, and the person practicing is in a state of pure awareness. This state is said to be beyond the duality of the ego and the external world, and it is the culmination of the Kriya Yoga practice. While Samadhi may be difficult to achieve, the regular practice of Kriya Yoga can help to purify the mind and body, making them more receptive to the experience of Samadhi, the ultimate goal of Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is more than just a set of breathing techniques or meditations. It is a complete spiritual path whose ultimate goal is union with the divine. It aims to help the practitioner move beyond the limitations of body and mind, awaken the hidden spiritual energy within, and reach a state of deep self-realization. In this state, one not only understands the true nature of the self, but also directly experiences oneness with God or universal consciousness. At its core, Kriya Yoga teaches that the human body is not only physical, but also contains a subtle energy system made up of 7 chakras, or energy centers, aligned along the spine. These chakras act like gateways that connect the physical body to the spiritual dimension. Through the disciplined practice of Kriya Yoga, these energy centers are purified and awakened, allowing the spiritual force, known as Kundalini energy, to rise upward from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. When this energy reaches the crown chakra, the practitioner enters a state of expanded awareness, often described as enlightenment, liberation, or union with God. This journey is not simply intellectual, it is deeply experiential. In meditation, advanced practitioners of Kriya Yoga often witness the spiritual eye, a sacred inner vision. It appears as a radiant golden ring, encircling a deep blue field with a shining white 5-pointed star at the center. This vision is a doorway to higher states of consciousness. Yogis say that when one's awareness passes through the star, the soul enters God's inner kingdom and experiences the infinite bliss of divine presence. To reach this state, the mind must be trained to remain still and unwavering. A Kriya yogi learns to focus deeply on the spiritual eye, using breath and energy control to withdraw attention from the senses and anchor it in higher awareness. While the practitioner may still live and work in the material world, they no longer identify themselves with passing sensations, emotions, or thoughts. Instead, they rest their identity in the soul and in constant communion with the divine. The more one practices Kriya Yoga, the more this inner connection becomes natural and unshakable. Even during daily activities, the yogi's mind remains absorbed in God. This is why many masters have said that the aim of Kriya is not to escape life, but to live it from a place of deep inner freedom and bliss. Importantly, Kriya Yoga is not a sectarian practice tied to any single religion. It is described as a spiritual science, a practical method by which the seeker can reverse the process of consciousness descending into the body and senses, and instead, raise that consciousness back to the soul. It teaches how life force, usually tied up in the functions of breathing, movement, and thought, can be withdrawn and redirected upward to unite with spirit. This process involves the transformation of the two main currents of breath, the prana, inward cool current, and apana, outward warm current. In early stages of practice, a beginner simply feels these subtle sensations. The cool prana flowing upward along the spine with inhalation, and the warm apana flowing downward with exhalation. With regular practice, these currents are refined and balanced, becoming powerful vehicles for lifting consciousness beyond the body. The journey of Kriya Yoga is not for everyone. It is said that only those who have accumulated great spiritual merit and good karma over many lifetimes are naturally drawn to this path. To walk it sincerely requires not just meditation techniques but also strong moral character. The yogi must live truthfully, with self-discipline, integrity, and compassion, because spiritual power without purity of heart cannot lead to liberation. Those who commit themselves to Kriya Yoga, however, are truly blessed. They hold in their hands a method that can accelerate spiritual evolution, helping them move beyond the endless cycle of birth and death. The ultimate goal is nothing less than freedom. Freedom from ignorance, freedom from suffering, and freedom to merge completely with the divine consciousness, living forever in the bliss and light of God. The rules of the yoga path. The yoga path is not just about physical postures or techniques. It is a step-by-step journey that transforms the body, mind, and spirit, guiding the practitioner toward union with God. Ancient yogis outlined certain essential rules, found in the yama and niyama of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, that serve as the foundation for all deeper practices of meditation. Without these rules, meditation remains shallow and unstable. With them, the mind becomes calm, the heart becomes pure, and the inner journey unfolds naturally. 1. Purity, calmness, devotion, and self-discipline. The first requirement on the path of yoga is purity of body, mind, and heart. Purity means living a clean life, both physically and mentally. It means eating healthy food, speaking truthful words, keeping good company, and avoiding actions that disturb your peace. Along with purity comes calmness of mind. A restless mind cannot meditate. Through prayer, devotion to God, and self-study, the mind begins to settle. This is why the yogic path emphasizes self-discipline, not as a punishment, but as a way of bringing harmony between thoughts, emotions, and actions. When you practice self-control, devotion, and study, you begin to notice your thoughts and behaviors more clearly. This self-awareness opens the door to real transformation. 2. Overcoming negative emotions. As meditation deepens, you realize how much your inner peace is disturbed by negative emotions like anger, greed, arrogance, envy, and jealousy. These emotions drain energy and keep your awareness tied to the lower nature of the mind. The yogic path teaches that overcoming these emotions is essential. This doesn't mean suppressing them, but rather transcending them through awareness and inner strength. For example, anger is dissolved by cultivating patience and compassion. Greed is overcome by practicing contentment. Arrogance is replaced with humility. This is the practical application of the yamas and niyamas, the ethical foundations of yoga. Without them, meditation is like trying to plant seeds in rocky soil. It won't take root. 3. Mastering the body through breath, pranayama. The third rule is learning to control the body and its vital energy through pranayama, the science of breath control. The yogis discovered that breath is the link between body, mind, and soul. When your breath is restless, your mind is restless. When your breath becomes calm and subtle, your mind naturally turns inward. Pranayama teaches how to regulate the breath, slow down the heart rate, and balance the life force within the body. This inner stillness becomes the doorway to higher meditation. In fact, advanced yogis say, the path to God is breathless. At its highest level, pranayama becomes Kriya Yoga, a powerful technique to withdraw life force from the senses and direct it up the spine toward God. Kriya is considered the pinnacle of yoga because it takes you beyond the restless breath into the silence where spirit is experienced. 4. Turning inward, pratyahara. The fourth step is withdrawing attention from the sensory world. Most people live outwardly, constantly absorbed in sights, sounds, tastes, and distractions. But meditation requires the opposite, turning the mind inward. When you detach from external stimuli and focus within, your awareness begins to rest on the soul instead of the senses. You realize that happiness is not in outer things but within yourself. This stage, called pratyahara, prepares you for deep concentration and meditation. Silence and the cosmic sound, dharana and dhyana. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is a gateway to the higher reality. Yogis say, in silence one can hear the mighty voice of spirit. That voice is the eternal sound vibration of the universe, known as Aum, Om. When you meditate deeply, you begin to hear or feel this inner vibration. It is like a subtle hum that connects you to the heartbeat of the cosmos. By attuning yourself to Aum, your awareness expands, and you feel oneness with all life. As this practice deepens, your meditation shifts from concentration, dharana, to true meditation, dhyana, where the mind flows steadily toward God without distraction.
6. Union in Samadhi.
The final rule of the yoga path is samadhi, the highest state of meditation. In this state, the meditator, the act of meditation, and the object of meditation, God, merge into one. There is no separation. You directly realize that your soul and the infinite spirit are one and the same. Samadhi is not a dreamlike escape, but the most real experience possible. It is pure consciousness, pure bliss, beyond words or concepts. Here the yogi understands that the self is not the body or mind, but eternal spirit. This is the ultimate goal of yoga, to awaken from illusion and live in the constant presence of God. In summary, the rules of the yoga path guide us step by step, from purity and discipline, to overcoming negative emotions, to controlling breath, to withdrawing inward, to experiencing divine silence, and finally to merging with spirit in samadhi. Each stage builds upon the last, leading the seeker to the ultimate freedom of self-realization.